Hey, what's going on there, YouTubers? This is going to be my video, basically my build of the Oklahoma Joe Bandera smoker, and pretty much all the mods that I did to it prior to me actually doing my first burn-in, which is going to be today. Just finished up putting on the Barbecue Guru DigiQ, so I'm going to give you a little walk around here and exactly what it is that I've done. So first of all, I did get this smoker shipped to my house, and I built it all by myself, and I did put it up on the stanchions here. It was a pain in the ass though, so if you got a bad back, which I kind of do, I wouldn't recommend doing it by yourself. Probably a two-person lift. Alright, here's some of the things that I got as far as materials. I got the Berry Plastics Corporation Joshua products, the 324 Alpha cold weather like water heater ducting tape, which I used. Right now this is all trial and error, so because I have my DigiQ airflow coming this way right towards the center, I blocked off these holes right here. I don't even know if that's going to stick after my first burn-in or subsequent smoke sessions, but we'll see. If it doesn't, I'll probably just put bolts through there, because I don't plan on opening these things all the way up, and as you can see, you can probably get a third open if you were to put bolts or some sort of like powder coating rubber plugs that they use to fill holes so your threads don't get powder coated. So all trial and error. So anyway, I got that bad boy taped up, and that's the tape. So I'll put this away. And the next mod that I did basically was I used the Lava Lock 1/2 inch by 1/8 by 15 foot high temp adhesive gasket. So here's the gasket, and when you do put it on the smoker, you got to make sure that you don't pull excessively on it. You just really want to lay it down there perfectly. So what you got to do is measure from top to bottom first, and then I pulled off the backing just a little bit. I started all the way at the top, and I just slowly pulled the backing off as I came down. You obviously want to make sure you kind of double check to see where the actual edge is going to rest inside the lid, to make sure that you get half pretty much right in the middle of the gasket, which as it's been sitting for a week, I can see a wear mark already on the gasket. So it's looking like I got it all lined up, and I got that gasket all the way around the door, the entire door. And then I also have it on my Firebox lid, which I'll show you. So let me put this bad boy away, and then in order to drill out the hole for the airflow tube and the DigiQ, I use this 1 3/8 hole drill, and this I borrowed it from a buddy. I think the bit was pretty worn, so it kind of gave me a out of round hole, and even though you really won't be able to tell from outside or inside, I'm a perfectionist, and I don't like the hole. It's not perfect, so just be wary. I guess maybe buy a new one, or if you borrow it from somebody, make sure that the hole drill is new and really sharp. So, and also on that, I got the Weber Smoky Mountain gasket, the temperature probe gasket, and I did drill a hole, but I even used calipers to see if the inside diameter of this grommet was sufficient to, like, large enough basically to fit in that 1 3/8 hole. And it's actually turned out that this thing is probably not seating in there really well. So if you do get a 1 3/8 hole, I would probably try and maybe step down one for the gasket if you get one of these gaskets, because there's not a lot of meat for this gasket to grab onto. So whenever you pull these probes in and out, you have to kind of hold the gasket on the other side like this as you pull through, so it doesn't pull the gasket out of the hole. I don't think that'll be a problem. You know, before you smoke, make sure you got the desired length, however high up you want to go in your smoker, or however far down you want to go. And if you wanted to get maybe like another DigiQ, you could probably even run 2 more probe wires through the hole. So definitely some extra room in there if you wanted to get one of those. And this thing was like, I don't know, $8 on Amazon, so pretty cheap. Also, before I drilled my holes, I used my hole, what do you call this thing? It's basically like a drill starter, a punch kind of thing, where you push down on it, it'll click and make a hole in the metal. I use this on both my hole drill evolutions to make sure I was drilling where I wanted it to be, and the drill bit didn't walk on me. All right, obviously you need drill bits and a drill. For the silicone, I use the Lavalock RTV 650, and this has basically dried over a week already. And what I did was, let me turn this grill a little bit better in the sun so you guys can see. First I put the chimney on, and I realized this thing is not perfectly flush, so when I secured it down, I might have had some gaps up here. I wasn't happy with that, so I went on the bottom and I put a whole bunch all the way around here, and I put a whole bunch more all the way around the top. And I've seen some people's videos and their silicone is just sloppy, nasty. One thing that I do is I make sure that I cut the tip of the plastic nozzle real small, so I get a real small bead that comes out. I take my time. You're probably gonna spend more time doing silicone than you will doing anything else on this setup, so plan on taking your time, drink some beers, hang out. But what I do is have a bowl of water, and I get my finger wet, and I basically rub all the way along the bead in order to get it real flush, and I keep wiping the excess on a towel. So don't be afraid, you know, to get water on the silicone. They're not gonna, it's like oil and water, you know, they don't like one another. But as long as you don't, as long as you don't push too hard and you leave enough silicone in there, you'll be fine. So just take your time doing that. Again, silicone is probably the biggest time investment in setting up one of these smokers. Same thing, if you can see how small my bead is, I mean, it's very small. And I don't even think I use my finger on this one. I use just the tip of the silicone tube. But over here in the back, you can see where I had to use my finger because it's far back there and I couldn't get a lot of good leverage with my arms to get a real nice bead. And also, before you're mating the Firebox together, I put a real nice bead on the outside where the bolts go on the Firebox all the way out. And so when I mated it together, and actually the whole unit was on its side, so the Firebox rested on the side of the smoke box. So it kind of helped. You still have to put the bolts in because this thing is kind of offset and it'll fall over even though it's on its side. So you got to get like one or two of these bolts up here started, and then it will hold the Firebox onto the smoke box. And you want to make sure that you obviously don't you tighten it down first so your silicone sits properly on the smoke box, and you got a good seal. And then once I tighten all the nuts on there, I just got a rag or your finger and wipe off the excess so it doesn't look all nasty, because I'm all about cleanliness and appearance. And you got the little smoke baffle diffuser thing here. I don't know, we'll see. I'll try it on there. Don't know if I'll have it on there all the time or not. I've never had a vertical smoker before. Over here, on the 45-degree joiners, I put silicone because these don't line up that well, and there's like holes you can see through the side of the nuts and the bolts. Down here is the Barbecue Guru Pitbull fan with the DigiQ DX2. I just got this, haven't used it yet. One thing that I was kind of concerned about was the distance. I have about 6 inches from the top of the Pitbull fan to the bottom of the smoke chamber, and residual heat was kind of concerned because there's some plastic on this thing. So I used that same water heater tape, duct tape, and I just made like a little bridge on top of the Pitbull fan because I wanted to try and be like a little bit of a protective shield and keep some of that heat away from the plastic. So we'll see how long that works and if it worked or lasts at all. All right, on the Firebox, what I did was I got the clamps. They're pretty small. You get them on Amazon. I think it came in a pack of like 4 or 6, pretty cheap for like 14 bucks. And what you got to do first is obviously make sure that you don't want to run this thing all the way out. You want to kind of get it up towards the top, but you got to be kind of smart when you set this thing up, because depending upon how much your lid is up against the bottom, you got to be careful that you have enough to adjust this thing. I'll show you. You have enough to adjust this thing so the threads will stick out, and then I guess, let's see here, I have you guys on the phone. you don't want those. You don't want that thing to stick out too far. Okay, no, yeah, because now I can't even secure it all the way. So you want to make sure you give yourself enough room to tighten it more, so it'll close properly. And there's one, it closes perfect, and this side I probably don't even need, but I will. And there we go, be perfect. So shouldn't see much smoke coming out of the top of this lid at all. But I used that metal punch to start my holes over here, and what I did was just made it all nice and level, did the top, and I let it hang like this in the secure area, and I put a giant ammo can full of dirt on top of the Firebox lid to push it down, so I knew where it would rest right here. And after this was all tight and secure, I just loosened this about 2 spins, and then I put this bottom point on there, and I put my holes with my little push pin thing, and then I drilled the holes, secured the bolts, and I screwed this thing back in two twists, and the thing tightens down perfectly now. So it's looking like it'll work out really well. Again, I got my my silicone inside the lid, real nice and clean, I think. And then we got the gasket all the way on top of the Firebox lid. So hopefully I don't have any smoke creeping out of this thing, because it's pretty much sealed up. And then inside, before I put on the grill rack bracket, whatever you want to call it, I put silicone on the back of this thing as well too, so that way none of the holes from the bolts, none of the smoke will come out of there. And then more silicone. So the biggest thing was trying to make sure that silicone doesn't escape the Firebox and goes into the smoke box and up through the top of the chimney. That's pretty much the gist of modifications to the Bandera smoker. I didn't use rubber wheels like some guys have done, I guess, from Harbor Freight. They've got some rubber wheels and put them down there. I didn't do that yet, and I don't know. I was going to stay in the backyard, pretty chill, no grass, it's all concrete, so I don't got to worry about that. But I'm going to go ahead and do my first burn-in, and then try and smoke a brisket tomorrow. So I'll probably do another video on that brisket to see how it turns out. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later. If you got any questions, let me know.